The greatest regret of my life came from a single moment of weakness, one that changed everything forever. The day I received the divorce papers. I woke up to an empty space beside me. His presence, his scent, his laughter, his voice. Everything I once cherished was gone. In the 14th year of our marriage, I lost a man I had loved for so long. How did a brief mistake lead to such a devastating downfall? Let me share my story with you. Before I dive in, if you want to avoid making the same life-altering mistakes I've made, subscribe to my channel. You can learn from real stories like mine and uncover valuable lessons. Don't forget to share your thoughts and support the channel by liking this video. Now, let's begin. My husband and I are both 36 years old. We've been together for 16 years and married for 14. We have two beautiful daughters, aged 13 and 12. 3 months ago, I made the awful decision to cheat on my husband with a coworker just once. I regret it with all my heart. Even now, I struggle to understand the true reason behind my infidelity. On the surface, it seemed like he was too focused on his work, leaving me feeling neglected and unappreciated. But deep down, I know that wasn't the real cause. I'm trying to uncover the truth through individual therapy. We met in college and became inseparable almost instantly. He was my best friend, my soulmate, the love of my life. We traveled, shared our dreams, and built a life filled with joy and laughter. When our daughters were born, it only made our bond stronger. We faced every challenge together, supporting each other through thick and thin. But as the years went by, the pressures of work and parenting took their toll. Our conversations grew less frequent, and our intimacy faded. I longed for the connection we once had, for the attention and affection that felt so natural in the beginning. Then, when a co-worker showed me attention, it felt like a brief escape from the loneliness that had settled in my heart. It was a terrible mistake, just a one-time mistake, and the guilt consumed me immediately. I confessed to him the very next day because I couldn't bear living with the shame. At first he was shocked, then hurt and angry. He called me every name imaginable, and I knew I deserved it. I even thought he had every right to say worse. I explained that it started innocently enough, with flirting, that eventually led to something much worse. Now, I can only wish I had been struck by a car that day to erase my foolishness. I severed all ties with the coworker immediately and handed my phone to my husband, showing him that I was willing to do whatever it took to regain his trust. I told him I understood if he couldn't forgive me, and if he wanted a divorce, I would accept it. But I poured my heart out, expressing my deep regret for hurting him. I promised I would do whatever it took to rebuild his trust. My husband is the type of person who doesn't easily offer second chances, not even in friendships. Once trust is broken, it's hard for him to repair it. He told me he wanted a divorce, but then the unexpected happened. We spent 2 months at home together, with the divorce hanging in limbo. The first month felt like living in cold silence. We only spoke when it came to our daughters. I slept on the couch, trying to give him the space he needed. Occasionally, I reminded him that if he ever wanted to try to work things out, I was fully committed to doing whatever it took. He would say hurtful things and push me further away, but in the second month, things started to change. He began talking to me again about everyday matters, about the little things. We even watched movies together with the girls. It felt like a sign, a hint that maybe, just maybe, he wanted to reconcile. I was cautiously hopeful, thrilled by the possibility of saving our family. Slowly, we started acting like friends again. Then one night, he invited me back into our bed. It felt like we were starting over, like we could build something new together. I reminded him that I was here for him, that we could talk about anything. A few weeks passed, and things seemed to be improving. We were spending time together as a family, growing closer in a way I hadn't felt in months. I was finally beginning to feel good about where we were. But there was one thing I deeply regretted. I never suggested marriage counseling. I didn't bring up the need for professional help. Then one night, everything changed. We were in our bedroom, talking and drinking, reconnecting in a way I hadn't felt in so long. It felt genuine. We laughed together, shared a moment of happiness, and looked into each other's eyes. And in that moment, I made a mistake I would regret for the rest of my life. I straddled him, and we began to kiss. It felt like we were 20 again, full of passion and excitement. But then, something shifted. His eyes filled with tears, and he pushed me away, asking me to stop. That's when I realized how deeply I had hurt him. I felt like the worst person in the world. I apologized, and we went to bed. But that was the moment I truly believe I pushed him away forever. 2 days later, he told me he wanted to proceed with the divorce. Despite everything we had tried in the past 2 months, he said he couldn't make it work. I was devastated, but I told him I understood. We had already discussed fair terms for the divorce, and now it seemed like there was no turning back. He went on a 2-week trip, and we agreed to split time with the girls. I helped him pack, and we hugged, both of us crying. When he returned from his trip, I was happy to see him again, but it was different. The warmth was gone. We made small talk, exchanged a smile, and then he took the girls. That was the last time we spoke like that. Today, I received the divorce papers. The pain is unbearable. I have lost my best friend, someone I loved deeply, because of my own foolishness. I miss him so much. The sound of his laugh, his presence, the way he filled a room with his joy. The hardest part is knowing that I hurt the person I love more than anything in this world. I wish I could undo the pain I caused, but I can't. Now, all I have are these words written here, in a desperate attempt to make sense of what happened. I would give anything for another chance to show him how sorry I am and how committed I would be if he would only give me the opportunity. I love him more than anything, but I know I've lost him for good,